take that as a no.
Talk about all of it and what's going to happen next. And we're on the phone with top level, let's just say very high level administration officials moments ago to talk about what the plan is. And I think we have good news, maybe, kind of depends. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk all about it today. No lies detected. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Both arms are back. Okay. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Today is going to be a face scorcher. If you would like to make sure that you are toasty, not too toasty, but feeling good, like as though you've been out at the sun, the beach all day, get the Bond Charge Infrared Sauna Blanket. The Bond Charge Infrared Sauna Blanket is a must-use in the Johnson household. I talk about these things. I will only ever partner with people who I agree with their product. I won't ever partner with people that I wouldn't actually use it myself. So whether it's in my cup or on my bed, it's something that I use. My wife uses this, every single night. I use this. I use the mask. My wife likes the sauna blanket. She's issue.
It's actually seems like a broader issue with ICE and Border Patrol putting numbers on the table and saying, the more people you pick up, the more bonuses you get. The more people you pick up, the closer you get to the target that we want you to get to, regardless of whether these people are eligible for deportation or not.
Yeah, I don't have enough facts about this case to know whether what you're alleging is true. I do know broader numbers. I saw some numbers today for the month of January, in fact, for the city of New Orleans. Over 2,500 arrests, 10,000 deportations, 25 gang members picked up and taken off the streets. I mean, ICE is having hundreds of thousands, if not millions of interactions with people around the country. Do I think it's reasonable to assume you're going to have individual interactions where something goes awry? where a detail is missed, where there's something
I mean,
unfortunate
this man
or
is dead.
bad that happens.
This man
And so,
is dead,
of
and
course,
he didn't need
of
to be
course.
dead.
But
He was-
does
he
that
was
negate
not
the
a
need
criminal.
to do the
He
hundreds of
was-
thousands of other interactions they're
Yeah,
having
but
across the country?
look,
Of course not.
The word was God, and God was the word, and the word was in the beginning. Amazing. Thank you.
Josh from Georgia with a BQ response.
What?
I think we as Americans need to put our elected officials' feet to the fire and demand that they work together, or they won't get back in office. You know, this age we live in, this accelerated information age, we're getting further and further apart. We're not getting together, we're getting further and further and further apart.
Explain to us how this then plays out.
All money ain't good money. What would you do? It's easy, Michael.
You always put me on the spot.
Well, you know, man to man, son to son. What would you do if it were your son in this set of circumstances?
When it's your son, but when it's a moral dilemma.
Yeah, but then that's what I'm saying. And then you find out it's not. What would you do?
It's a moral dilemma.
What would you do?
Oh,
What would you do? You're already telling on yourself. That child's in trouble.
You're gonna see.
What would you do, Michael?
You're gonna see.
what would I do? I'd do the right thing.
Which is?
Another Spike Lee movie.
Yeah?
Get ready for this trailblazing 11-year-old drag kid who RuPaul is calling the future.
What would you do, Michael?
You always put me on the spot.
Welcome, Desmond Napolis, aka Desmond is amazing. And your parents, we saw your parents in the piece that we did, and your parents are so supportive of you, but they've encouraged you to stay and be who you are. So how has that inspired you to be open about dressing in drag?
Michael?
They support me by letting me do what I want to do.
Michael?
Thank you for having me.
Michael?
So for you three, when you see Desmond, what comes to mind? What do you think about?
Inspirational.
Corporation. You know how that works.
What do you think about the huge fence our president wants to build with the Hispanic world?
What?
Sorry.
What'd you say?
Okay.
How do I feel about the fence he's about to build?
Yeah.
And
How many?
you know, I think this is what I think. I think we as Americans better learn to unite. I think we as Americans need to put our elected officials' feet to the fire and demand that they work together, or they won't get back in office. You know, this age we live in, this accelerated information age, we're getting further and further apart. We're not getting together, we're getting further and further and further apart. Everybody can't be right. But I think this is an opportunity, actually. You see how people are being energized and protesting and all that. But I think this is an opportunity for us to look at ourselves as a country and say, are we together really? And are we holding our elected officials accountable to making sure that they're working together? Not just, hey, you're on your side, I win what I win, you win what you win. Because this is what is happening. This is what's happening. And God only knows where it's going.
Just wondering who you wound up supporting in the election and why.
Go ahead now. What was the question?
Well, that was a question. Who
What was
you
the
wound
question?
up, who you wound up supporting in the election, presidential election?
None of your business.
None of my business.
None of your business.
Well, I'm only asking because the story was online, but that's okay.
Huh?
Let me ask you this: over the last 8 years, in your mind, have race relations improved under his leadership?
Race relationships have to do with race relationships. You're white or whatever you are. I'm black or whatever I am.
Before you say that, we always say that on this channel. When they don't say it, we usually know what that means. If you can't make an endorsement, you made an endorsement. Usually know what that means.
I just think he's just smart. Like he's a PR trained guy. He just doesn't give direct answers. He deflects.
But he's against the woke shit. Yeah, he is.
Oh, for sure.
Well, that was a question. Who you wound up supporting in the election, presidential election?
None of your business.
None of my business? None of your business. Well, I'm only asking because the story was online, but that's okay.
Huh?
Let me ask you this: over the last 8 years, in your mind, have race relations improved under his leadership?
Race relationships have to do with race relationships. You're white or whatever you are. I'm black or whatever I am. We're standing here talking now. That's how we get things done. You can't legislate love. The President of the United States can't legislate us into liking each other. We have to step forward and ask questions about each other and engage. There's no law that says, oh, because I'm president, you all got to get along now. So it's up to us.
And there's been so many protests in America, especially during the election. Black Lives Matter movement, for example, and those issues. Has that movement in particular, the Black Lives Matter movement, helped race relations or not in America?
Well, listen, we live in America. And in America, we have the freedom to express ourselves. We shouldn't take that for granted. So whatever the movements are, whether you agree with them or don't, they have the right to express themselves. So that's one of the great things about being in this country, that you do have the right to protest.
Right now, in the world we live in, there's a lot of change going on.
Mm-hmm.
Are you comfortable about the changes that are happening, for example, in the US right now?
Understand this.
Alvin Toffler wrote this years ago, Third Wave or Future Shock. We went from an agricultural society to an industrial society. The third wave is an information age. There are millions of people that are falling in the gap because they don't fit in to this information age. I don't care who you are. You can promise people a whole lot of people that are in trouble right now because they just don't fit in. It's no coincidence that the places that were at the height of the Industrial Revolution in America, Pittsburgh, the Rust Belt, are suffering the worst right now.
And those are the places, of course, where Donald Trump...
And they're frustrated. And I don't care which president it is, they can't promise them anything. And those jobs aren't coming back. I don't care who promises you that. So what is the long-term effect of too much information? The polarization of the electorate? A meaner-spiritness?
False information as well, because there's the whole fake news thing.
Pick one. It's not just one. That's the flavor of the day. Every day is something else. People have to understand, are you using your device or is your device using you? Can you put it down? Can you turn it off?
You're talking about literally the places people get their information from.
I don't care what information. Pick one. Phone, television. It used to be news. Now it's opinion.
Dude is smart, man.
Of course.
I mean, that's what's going on. Like, people are getting their political opinions off the internet. Because anytime I tell a liberal something, they'll be like, hey, bro, where'd you get that at? Where'd you get that at? I gotta pull out my phone and pull it up. And then, that's fake. So what's real now, brother? That's why I say, you know what? Let's look at this. Let's go to the gas station. Forget the phone. Is the gas gonna go down? Yes or no? It did.
Are you using your device or is your device using you? Can you put it down? Can you turn it off?
You're talking about literally the places people get their information from.
I don't care what information. Pick one. Phone, television. It used to be news. Now it's opinions. Oh, glasses. We have 3 experts on the right, 3 on the left. Let's discuss. Ooh, light bulbs. We have 3 experts on the right. That's not news. That's opinions. Well, over and over and over. Cycle. What is the long-term effect of too much information? If you're sitting there and you're thinking it's the gospel, what I'm saying to people is, to all of us, I'm not knocking the phone. What I'm saying is we have to understand, we have to at least ask ourselves, around the world, you here in England, wherever you are, what is it doing to us?
When people hear you talking as passionately as you do just then about people who haven't got a voice and the need for a voice, they might think maybe one day Denzel Washington might like to have a bigger voice, a voice in government.
You got to stay in your lane. Yeah, I'm not running for what? I don't want any of that.
Would you never?
Ever.
Incarceration rates in America has been a problem, especially as opposed to minorities. And Roman delves into the issues around the legal system. Do you think we've made any headway in the
I think it's more important to make headway in our own house. By the time the system comes into play, the damage is done. They're not locking up 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
I was in Chicago a couple of 3-4 weeks ago, and we saw these little kids on bikes with masks on the side of their head, like 5 or 6 of them. And the driver said, yeah, they're little yummies. I said, who? He said, little yummies. Look up, Google Little Yummy. Little Yummy was an 11-year-old murderer
Wow.
And you look at his picture, you'll see the headshot of him. He's like this. And he got murdered at 11 by a 14-year-old.
Wow.
Who's doing life now, and a 16-year-old.
That makes no sense.
You blame the system? Where was his father? It starts in the house.
That was bars. He could not.
Starts in the house.
He
man.
couldn't disagree with that one.
That was bars. I saw a stat about that actually. 72%, some say up to 90%, of the people in prison came from fatherless home.
That is an insane stat.
So if you say so, does it make sense that the race with the least amount of fathers has the worst
incarceration rate? I think the math is mathing there.
That's directly correlated, clearly.
What was your worst job that you had before you entered the film business?
I was a garbage man, like Troy. Garbage man, you get 3 hours, you get 8 hours worth of work, but you can do it in 3. So you can go home as soon as you finish. Post office, you get 3 hours worth of work and you make it last 8. I did both. I like being a garbage man better. But they weren't bad jobs. It's like, people say, oh, the difficulty of making a movie. I'm like, well, send your son to Iraq. That's difficult. It's just a movie. It's like, relax. I don't play that precious nonsense. Oh, move over, get out of here. Your son got shot in the face. That's difficult. Making a movie is a luxury. It's a gift. It's an opportunity. And most importantly, it's a gift. Obviously, everybody here is talented enough to do that. But don't get it twisted. It's just a movie. It ain't that big a deal.
In a way, he personifies the Black American experience. Had he not faced the racial discrimination, he could have been a great athlete, a star. But because of that, he ended up a garbage collector. Perhaps this self-destructiveness, was it caused by racial discrimination? And is that the effect of racial discrimination on people?
Here's the thing you got to remember. When you talk about racial and you talk about discrimination, maybe, what if he just wasn't good enough?
Denzel wasn't letting him simplify the story. He reminded the host that success or failure is never one-dimensional.
See, it's so easy to just say, oh, it's because of this. It's because of racism. Oh, I didn't get the job because of that. Maybe you weren't good enough. Maybe, like his wife says, you were just too old. She says, why don't you just admit it? You were too old.
But we know for a fact that so many talented African Americans who don't achieve their goals or deprived from achieving their big dreams because of their skin color. I'll give you an example. Globetrotters, they were much better basket players than the white guys, but they were not allowed to play in the big league. Don't you think it is the problem is the racial discrimination?
The right word is not is, was.
Was.
And that's not the only problem. That's one of the problems. Now, you can make it the only one if you'd like. They couldn't play basketball in the NBA. Well, their grandfathers couldn't walk on the sidewalk, or they were slaves. So each generation is trying to do better for the next generation.
And when the reporter tried again, insisting that racism still plays a role today, Denzel leaned in.
You said was. You mean, is it better now? An African American doesn't face these obstacles?
We're sitting in the Four Seasons talking about a movie. We wouldn't be doing this in 1957 unless my name was Poitier. There was only one person then. But yeah, so things are better, no question.
It wasn't denial, it was perspective. But Denzel wasn't done, because when they shifted gears to Hollywood stereotypes, he went even deeper.
About Hollywood, and this is actually Obama pointed out. Do you think those stereotypes that had been presented about African Americans in the movies have affected the society's treatment of African Americans?
I'm sure, yeah.
And do you feel now things have changed?
Things have been changing. It didn't start this week. I've been in this business 40 years. In the 40 years, things have changed a lot. Things are continually changing for the better.
So what is Hollywood's role in changing that, in ameliorating?
You say Hollywood. There's no place called Hollywood.
You are part of Hollywood.
I'm a part of the human race. I'm not a part of any system. I'm a human being.
When you look now at what's going on outside in the political sphere, you see the emergence of white supremacists and racists.
You didn't see the emergence. It didn't emerge this year.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is we are regressing in some way.
Right.
Those guys, we thought we eliminated them,
Well, you can't
and suddenly they are
you
back.
Understand this. You can't legislate love.
You can change laws, but you can't legislate people into loving you. That takes time, and it depends upon what's going on in their home. You can change the law, but if you go home and teach your son how to hate every day, doesn't matter what law, until you teach your son how to love.
And she also said there were substantive questions yesterday too, but one reason there were repetitive questions about Epstein is because we went through every email and every correspondence that implied Hillary Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein communicated often. You all have seen the email where he said that she looks better in person and all of that. Those were questions we asked. So every item of evidence that would suggest Hillary Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein had a close relationship, we went and asked about that. So it may have seemed repetitive because there was a lot of documentation that would suggest that she had a relationship with Epstein.
And
so,
to be
go ahead.
Clear, Secretary Clinton actually asked
the
about
microphone,
the NDAA. Sorry.
Go ahead.
To be clear, Secretary Clinton actually asked us about what happened with the disclosure language in the NDAA. So, I mean, I know she's trying to pivot from the fact that she's here and she had a very close relationship regarding the Clinton Foundation and Epstein and Maxwell. But the point is, and I think I'd like to hit on this with probably Ms. Mace here, but I think we have a very important interest and curiosity about what specifically the co-conspirators had a role in all this, right? We know for a fact that some of these were women, and I think that today, at least with my line of questioning, I'm curious about that. Why is it that these women were given plea deals as adults for trafficking minors? How much of that did they witness, etc.? And so, I don't know that Secretary Clinton was all that honest about the context of this investigation. We asked extensively about intelligence ties, whether or not she felt that she was targeted as a result of possibly an intelligence gathering operation. And she was very curiously interested in that. And then also, you'll hear it in the response, but had told us to follow up with a few countries, one of which is our ally. So that's interesting.
I think Ms. Luna brought up a good point about the Clinton Foundation. There's so many examples in the evidence the Department of Justice released in correspondence where Epstein bragged about how involved he was initially in setting up the Clinton Global Initiative and the Clinton Foundation. We asked those questions to Secretary Clinton yesterday, and she kept saying, well, she was in the Senate at that time. She wasn't focused on it. You'll have to ask my husband. So a lot of the Clinton Global Initiative questions yesterday went unanswered because Ms. Clinton deferred to her husband. So we'll do one more question. Annie, go ahead. See. I'm gonna let Miss Mace answer that. We're on TV.
Okay, I'm not gonna say anything. No, she didn't want to answer any questions about any of that and deferred most of those, if not all of those questions, to her husband, and he will be thoroughly asked about that today. What did he know? What did he see? Because there are other people who've come forward publicly, like Kevin Spacey, who thought all of this was very strange and actually a very high risk for a president of the United States or former president. It's all very bizarre, but I asked her very pointed questions, and you'll see that in the transcript and the video that comes out, and you'll see how she responded as well, screaming.
And we'll close with this. We're going to get the video out as quickly as we can get it uploaded and the sound and everything from yesterday. So this is, for all practical purposes, a public deposition. The American people are going to see it. I heard C-SPAN's going to air it wire to wire. So everyone's going to see what was asked yesterday. And I think that'll answer a lot of questions, especially with Lutnick and other things like that. Throughout the day, we'll try to send different members out to give you brief updates. We don't want to disclose what's going on in the deposition specifically until at the conclusion, but we'll keep you updated, and we appreciate everyone being here and look forward to updating you throughout the day. Thank you all.
What do you mean that Hillary Clinton was
She was unhinged, and I hope that President Clinton is less unhinged today than his wife was yesterday. You'll see it.
Say again? Why do you think she had a relationship? Well, he was basically instrumental, for his words, and I think you'll find out from Clinton probably today, in sending up the Clinton Global Initiative.
President Trump said that he was bothered by what's coming in.
The biggest thing is we need transparency, accountability, and we need justice for the victims, and we need to make sure we find out how can we write laws to prevent human trafficking and prevent people of that evil level infiltrating the highest levels of government. Thank you.
All right, two very interesting tidbits.
For a vote, and quite possibly for a lengthy filibuster. Not just one of these phone it in, do it from remote or on your smartphone kind of filibusters. No, there is huge momentum right now forcing Democrats to stand there. Mr. Smith goes to Washington style and talk until they're blue in the face, hour after hour after hour, to prevent the SAVE Act from going to a vote. And the American people will see this every day and recognize that they're willing to go to the mattresses with that kind of energy and dedication on one notion: to prevent authentication of citizenship when you go to register to vote. Democrats don't fight like that and speak like that and spend all that time and that energy making sure that your health insurance is cheaper or that you have more freedom to get cheaper gas or cheaper oil, or you don't have bureaucratic roadblocks to raising your children or starting a business. No, that they don't get motivated over. But you ask for proof of citizenship to register to vote, and boy, they are going to show up day and night 24/7. See, that's the message that filibuster will send. If Republicans in the leadership and Senate were smart, the jury's out on that, they would force this issue and force Democrats to let the American people know exactly what their priority is. Meanwhile, Democrats continue to speak out about the SAVE Act, and they continue to lie. Except Chuck Schumer, in a rare moment, actually told the truth.
However, Scott demanded real Epstein facts.
What is the point of bringing Hillary Clinton in to ask her about Jeffrey Epstein at all?
Well, I assume they thought maybe she might have some views on it. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein visited the Clinton White House 17 times. Her husband is in the files. He's in photos. I'm assuming she has an opinion about this, may have encountered some of these folks. Ghislaine Maxwell went to Chelsea Clinton's wedding. So, look, I'm not sure what she had to say. My understanding is we're going to get to see the tape of both of them, and then we'll find out what they know. But I take her at her word that she claims she didn't know him. And the real meat of this week will probably come tomorrow when they get Bill Clinton under oath.
Why is it relevant what her opinion is on Jeffrey Epstein?
She claimed Hillary's opinions.
It's like fog like you can barely see right now in Tampa. It's like this for a long time. You don't get the sun. You don't get the good natural light of the sun. You got to use the sauna blanket, man. It's this infrared light that's so good for your skin. It's so good to help detoxify, ease stress, unwind. It's like a traditional sauna, but it's a teeny fraction of the price. Is that Hillary Clinton got up and walked out because I shared this photo. You scroll down and you can see the full photo. It has Lauren Boebert's name tag in it and everything. It's like this big table, and they're sitting there. The Republican Congress had to go to, the Republican members of the Oversight Committee had to go to Chappaqua, New York. Why didn't Hillary Clinton have to go to D.C.? Doesn't everybody have to go to D.C.? Why do they get special privileges? You want to talk about nobody's above the law. This is what I'm talking about. So what does Congress go and depose people in their little leafy hometown suburbs in New York? That irritated me in the first place, that she's not actually inside of Washington, D.C., dragged in. But anyway, you have this photo sent to me. She lost her mind. Her team lost their ever-loving effing minds on this. Why this happened? I think it's because they were looking for an excuse. I know they were looking for an excuse. It was obvious they were looking for an excuse. Because they lied. They were lying about so many things, but right from the get, Hillary Clinton lied. ALX, I don't see it in the script, but please give the post on us calling out the number of times that Epstein met Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton says, I don't ever recall meeting Jeffrey Epstein. And let's just begin there. Of the many lies. Now, obviously, it's not going to shock you that Hillary Clinton's lying, but she says in her opening line, in her opening dialogue, she goes, I didn't meet Jeffrey Epstein. Well, Jeffrey Epstein would like a word. Hildebeest. Jeffrey Epstein says dozens of times in his emails, I met Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is much prettier up close. This is how you know. I'm a very sick man. Hillary Clinton's much prettier up close. We have so many documented instances of Hillary Clinton meeting Jeffrey Epstein from his own emails. Now, Who knows? I mean, Hillary Clinton's using these weasel words where she's like, I don't recall meeting Jeffrey Epstein. Who knows what they have? Because they've only released, like, I think half of their Jeffrey Epstein files. So who knows what they have next? I mean, goodness gracious. Do they have photos of Hillary and Epstein? Probably. They probably have all the metadata. They probably have everything. I mean, you'd assume. But at the very least, they've released like half the stuff, which is probably the most mundane stuff. And it's been terrible. It's led to the destruction of many careers. You have Hillary Clinton, like, dead to rights. Like, the email after email after email of Jeffrey Epstein talking about how close he is with Hillary, how many meetings he has with Hillary, what Hillary looks like up close. Well, okay, that means you met Hillary. Bill Clinton was ubiquitous on the plane. Jeffrey Epstein was in the White House like day and night. He practically had like a rented room in the White House, the Clinton White House. So it's complete and total garbage. She is straight up lying. She knows that she's caught. She knows she's caught, and she freaks out about it. And so she attacks us. That's what happened. She attacked us, and she sent out her little weasel Flax to go running out and come after us outside. And they went marching out of the building and said, the testimony's off because Benny Johnson shared a photo of Hillary Clinton. And I just told you exactly how I shared it and who I got it from. I literally posted the photos, here they are again, of where I got the content. Literally from Representative Boebert, her name cards in the photo. And what were we trying to do? Were we trying to throw them off and cancel this because I'm such a huge Epstein fan? What we were trying to do was to show that Hillary Clinton is in this room. She's testifying. It's newsworthy. It's important to show that it's actually happening. It's important to show that Republicans are trying to get answers. Did they get any answers? They sounded really pissed afterwards, so probably not. Anyway, they used this as an opportunity to try and weasel out again. Slimy people, slimy people. So she sends out these two staffers, which is great, which is really exciting for me, because I know one of these dudes. One guy is Bill Clinton's chief of staff. It's the same guy in this video that we played for you a million times of Bill Clinton running like a scared animal for cover when some like little twink asked him about Jeffrey Epstein in a photo line. It's really interesting how much these guys, yeah, you know, this famous video. See that guy with the beard? That's the guy they sent out to attack me. That's the dude. His name is, I gotta go find it. He's Bill Clinton's chief of staff. Anyway, this guy of all people is the one they send out to attack me. And so here it is. Hillary goes, get out there and tell them that Benny Johnson has destroyed everything. It's fun. These people will leak. Well, these people will leak like Donald Trump's laundry list. But we turn the tables on them. These people will leak every conceivable thing. You know, it's so funny. Like it's hilarious. They leak like the Access Hollywood tape of Donald Trump. You know, Donald Trump saying naughty locker room talk when he's off camera, but his mic's still hot. They go back, they find everything they possibly can on Trump. They find this little clip, they leak it, Billy Bush tape. They leak that, and they think it's great. They thought that won them the election. Of course, they traveled up. Reince Priebus travels to New York, tells Trump he has to drop out. Donald Trump does not drop out. He ends up winning in 2016. They thought they had him. They thought he was finished. I mean, you want to talk about leaking stuff from behind the scenes to damage people. Hillary's nothing. Hillary can't even draw a crowd at a Chick-fil-A. Like, nobody would show up. There are lines longer at Chick-fil-A than would show up to hear Hillary Clinton talk or speak these days. She has no political power. There's nothing you can do. They've been thrown under the bus by their own party. Okay? So this is fully me posting a photo of her in this deposition is fair game, scum. You made the rules. Anyway, here's what they did yesterday. Let's watch. Listen to him, bitch.
Very quick thing. My name is Dick Merrill. I'm an advisor to Secretary Clinton. This is Angelo Aranet, who's a advisor to President Clinton. The hearing just went off the record for a moment because it seemed, as some of you may have seen, that there were some photographs shared on social media, which is against chamber rules that were read at the top of the meeting. So the hearing has been paused briefly while they figure out where the photo came from and why possibly members of Congress are violating that rule. So we'll keep you updated. We just wanted to share what's happening inside.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing that. Can you explain what the picture is?
If you look on your Twitter feed, you know who it came from?
It came from Benny Johnson. He said Lauren Boebert gave it.
Yeah, look at Benny Johnson's feed.
Yes.
Good. We'll be back. Thanks.
That's, ladies and gentlemen, that's us working for you. That's us working for the people. I haven't been suicided yet, and we are like really proud that we've survived close to 24 hours since doing this to the Clinton campaign. We'll keep a ticker now for the rest of the show. We'll have a ticker like how long until Benny's suicided. You know, we'll keep a ticker, right? Very sorry to announce. Very sorry to announce. My imminent traffic accident. Anyway, Lauren Boebert, complete legend, and we thank her for that. It was a lot of fun. Lauren Boebert also responding to this, because of course I made it very clear who sent me that photo. Stop playing dumb. Lauren Boebert responding to this like a legend. Here we go.
I really admire her suit, so I wanted to capture that for everyone.
Why did you send the picture?
Why not?
Lieutenant Boebert, can you talk to us about why you sent that picture? I just returned to my hotel room and installed the PageFit software. So I can't work with my iPad, so I guess in regards to photos, I just wanted to... You don't remember saying the picture of Clinton?
Yeah. Are you going to see a Broadway show while you're here?
You're gonna see a Broadway show. All right. Another like reason number infinity never to marry a left-wing woman. Hillary threw Bill Clinton under the bus, saying effectively it was my husband. I mean, obviously we know as a matter of fact that Bill had a much closer relationship with Epstein. Bill Gates had a much closer relationship with Epstein. So it's today that is like the big one. Is James Comer speaking right now? Yeah, go. Is it live? Okay, we're just wrapping up yesterday. Okay, let's go.
This is, and I think I'd like to.
This is live.
Miss Mace here,
ATL.
but I think we have a very important interest and curiosity about what specifically the co-conspirators had a role in all this, right? We know for a fact that some of these were women, and I think that today, at least with my line of questioning, I'm curious about that. Why is it that these women were given plea deals as adults for trafficking minors? How much of that did they witness, etc.? And so, I don't know that Secretary Clinton was all that honest about the context of this investigation. We asked extensively about intelligence ties, whether or not she felt that she was targeted as a result of possibly an intelligence gathering operation. And she was very curiously interested in that. And then also, you'll hear it in the response, but had told us to follow up with a few countries, one of which is our ally. So that's interesting.
And I think Miss Luna brought up a good point about the Clinton Foundation. There's so many examples in the evidence the Department of Justice released in correspondence where Epstein bragged about how involved he was initially in setting up the Clinton Global Initiative and the Clinton Foundation. We asked those questions to Secretary Clinton yesterday, and she kept saying, well, she was in the Senate at that time. She wasn't focused on it. You'll have to ask my husband. So a lot of the Clinton Global Initiative questions yesterday went unanswered because Ms. Clinton deferred to her husband. So we'll do one more question. Annie, go ahead.
Look, there are so many different permutations of this inside of Epstein's own emails. And obviously this guy he was convicted and pled guilty to 120 counts of child prefer to say like that Pizzagate is a sick and debunked conspiracy. Again, lady, it's not 2015. One other final lie, and then we got to get to Viva Frei because I can't freaking wait to talk with him about this. Chelsea Clinton. So we've all seen the photo of Ghislaine Maxwell at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. And this is the single most demonstrable lie because, and this doesn't make me special, maybe you've been to the White House. Maybe you've even been to have you been to a Donald Trump event? Have you been to a Trump rally? When you go to a Trump rally, you have to check in. You have to have a ticket to a Trump rally. It's because the Secret Service wants to generally know who's in the area of the president, so that they're making sure that no one on the terrorist watch list gets in. But let's say you're going to a private event with a president. If you're going to a private event with a president, whoo doggy, get ready with your multiple forms of ID, your social security number, questions about your background, questions about where you're from, your nationality. Get ready to stand before a drug-sniffing dog. I've been to these private events with the president, and I am not bragging. It doesn't make me special. You get invited into the White House, prepare to stand on a rubber mat with a German Shepherd smelling you. And I don't consider myself particularly dangerous, I've never been to Iran, for instance. I don't like leaving America. I don't have a naughty search history, okay, on any of my devices. I'm not like that. I'm not your guy. I get run through the ringer. So does everybody else. If you're going to a private event with the president. Hillary Clinton wants us to believe, like we literally have no brain cells left, that Ghislaine Maxwell broke into her daughter's wedding. I kid you not. This is the answer. The answer is that she snuck in. How'd she sneak in? Oh, she was a sneaky little +1 of one of our guests. We just had no idea who she was. Bullshit. Sorry. Don't like to curse. I'm so angry about this. I despise these lies. I despise them. I would much rather tell brutal truths than comforting lies. It's so irritating. Hillary goes, oh, she just snuck in. Critical elements here. This is after Jeffrey Epstein pleads guilty to 120 counts of child sex trafficking and prostitution. Jeffrey Epstein becomes one of the worst pederasts in human history. He pled guilty to this. Ghislaine Maxwell was the madame. Many of the trafficked women say Ghislaine Maxwell was in charge of the operation. Ghislaine Maxwell was the one who had the connections to intelligence, Israeli and UK intelligence and otherwise. It was Ghislaine Maxwell who's operating Jeffrey Epstein, not the other way around. That's what many people say. And she's the one front row at your wedding, and you didn't know she snuck in as a guest? It's such a lie. It's such a demonstrable lie. It's enraging. It'll boil your blood. Listen to this.
James Matthews from Sky News. Can I ask, why was Ghislaine Maxwell invited to my daughter Chelsea Clinton's wedding in 2010? She'd already been mentioned in a civil lawsuit by Virginia Giuffre before that. Jeffrey Epstein had already been convicted before that.
She came as the +1, the guest of someone who was invited.
What a filthy liar.
Thank you all.
What a filthy liar. Dirty, filthy liar. All right, Viva Fry, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man. Ooh, boy. Makes me so angry. Bill Clinton now is getting it. He's in. Apparently, they're in right now. He's supposed to be. I am once again let's see if I break the internet again today. I'm once again communicating with the team. Once again communicating with people that are inside of the room, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Bill Clinton. He's due in minutes to begin his little testimony. But ladies and gentlemen, Viva Fry, live right now. And, oh man, I have a good one for him. Let's go.
Who will love our country, will come here and work hard. That's who we want. I think he might add, follow our laws, assimilate into our culture. That's what's always been the ingredient for Americans who came here, whether you were my forebears who came from Scotland or Ken's who came from Italy, is you have to come to America, assimilate into American culture, work hard, take America as your own country, leave your prior country behind. That's what it means.
Can I just say that's flat out wrong, and that's utter BS. First of all, there is a difference between coming to this country and absorbing all of the greatness of this country and the opportunity of this country and maintaining the values that you bring with you, maintaining the dignity that you bring with you. Black folk were stripped of absolutely everything. But all we had was hope and faith. We didn't come here to assimilate. We were brought here in chains. There was no assimilation. So let's get that absolutely correct. And there also is a line between talking about immigration and being outwardly racist. And what we're doing here is we're kind of beating around the bush, because what Donald Trump does with Somalians is utter racism. And if he did it one time, then we can excuse it. But he called these people filthy. He called them animals. He said all they do, and we get into this thing where we say now that we have to become westernized, that you have to come here and assimilate. No. You say that you want Norwegians. You say you want white South Africans. You call Africa.
That if you don't tie your American identity back to the Mayflower, you're not really American.
No, that look, the left wants to make this binary, and that's what I'm hearing here. Either you're a racist or you're for open borders, and that is not the real world, and that is not Donald Trump. He spoke favorably, as Brad noted, for hardworking people who love this country to come to this country. That's who we want to come to this country. That's who Donald Trump wants to come to this country. And it was always true, and to your point, Abby, it's playing out, that the idea of enforcing immigration law is easier to support than when cameras are following around the actual enforcement of immigration law. And because we're all human beings, and these are human beings, they may be on the wrong side of the law.
But it's also common sense,
but you still have, let me just finish this one point.
Yeah.
We have this, we all have, I hope, a heart for other people. But there is also, we long ago crossed this line with millions and millions and millions of people being allowed in illegally and being given various statuses, many of them. And so how do you solve that problem? Well, you solve that problem by returning them home. And that's never going to look
I don't know that Americans agree that you solve that problem by treating visa overstays the same way you treat somebody who murdered someone on the street, right? Because in this administration they are, and that's part of the problem. Because let me give you another example, and I'll let you respond to it. Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, his grandfather came over to this country illegally, and was ordered to be deported, did not leave, and was granted asylum in one of the waves of asylum in this country, and now here he is, and Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State. I think Americans understand that in theory, like to your point, they approve of dealing with the immigration system. They think it's broken. But when you ask them, should you deport somebody who's been here for 20 years? Should you deport somebody who's working hard, hasn't broken any laws? They say no.
Because they understand that there's a cartoon version of immigration, which is being peddled by Donald Trump and the Republican Party. This notion that we'll take people who want to work hard, we'll take people who want to have decent lives. The vast majority of immigrants, legal and illegal, are those people, and they always have been. And this notion that only heritage Americans have this culture, the fundamental truth about the American people, some people are saying this. Some people in the Republican Party, that you have to be able to trace your roots back to whatever, the Mayflower, or to some, culture of the 17th century.
Mom got pregnant with you because she was cheating on her husband with a black man. Meanwhile, she was married to a white man and they had 3 white kids together. And throughout her whole entire pregnancy, her entire friends and family thought that she was pregnant with her husband's baby, obviously.
I think I reacted to this in 2023. I'm not sure. But just in case I did.
Then the day that you were born, everybody was so excited for your arrival. But then your mom goes and she tells everybody that you died at birth. So everybody assumed you were stillborn. But in reality, she actually gave you up for adoption. For a little over 25 years, everybody still thought that you were dead and had no idea that you existed. And they recently found out that you existed.
As foul as that whole situation was, maybe it was a blessing in disguise. Because as a child, you would hate to grow up in a household where the mother's blaming you for breaking up her marriage, even though she broke up her marriage because she couldn't keep her legs closed.
Bitch, I'm gonna beat your ass. I can catch you if I want to. Stop playing with me.
What'd she do?
Stop. Say sorry. I'm sorry.
I
don't give a say sorry. Sorry. Say sorry. Stay away from the store. I can't. Put the stick down. Stop. Put the stick down. Put it down. Put it down. Put the stick down. You put the stick down.
Bro, what she
Put
do?
it down. One. Put the keys down.
These are my keys.
Put them down. You don't come to my mother shop doing all that. Put them down. Put the keys down right now. I'm not playing. Put them down. Do 10 push-ups right now.
Oh, hell no. She ain't doing no 10 push-ups.
I don't give a...
Come on, I can't do 10. I'm pregnant. Stop treating me like this. I'm black.
Bro, get the away from me. I'll be seeing you.
Stop treating me like this. I'm black. Bro, what?
That's not real.
On Facebook, stay the away from me. You looked at my story and you came up here.
No, I didn't.
Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. I don't know who you looking for. Stop playing with me. I don't give a who you looking for. Stop. Don't come playing with me.
I'm sorry.
For reals.
I don't mean for you to do all this. I spent 140.
I don't give a what you spent. Stop playing with me.
Why are you doing me like this?
We need more context. What happened? Is this like a skit or is this real? I am so confused right now. But her comments, it seemed like she was trolling.
One of my biggest advantages in life is that you'll never know that I'm overweight just by looking at my face. Like, you'll never catch me in person. I make sure of that. But online, you'll never know. You'll literally never know. Like, all I gotta do is just post from the neck up, and people will never know. So come 5 months when it's time to catch me in person, you'll never know that I was overweight. Because it'll be gone by then.
I be telling y'all all my business and shit, but look, my mans had linked up with a chick that we used to go to high school with. Now, mind you, we still used to see her online, and when we were in high school, she was cute. She had a nice body, she had a cute face. So he links up with her, we talking about it, and he like, bruh, nah, bruh, she ain't who she used to be. I'm like, what you mean? He's like, she big, bruh. I'm like, no, she not. She posts pictures every day, she not big. He's like, bruh, do you notice she only posts face pictures? That caught me off guard to the point where I had to pause, go on Instagram, and I noticed that there was a pattern of all face pictures. It was she either took pictures of her from the neck up, and if it was videos, it was videos of the surroundings. Like, she went to a party, she wouldn't be doing this. She'd be doing this, taping everybody else. And I was like, oh, snap. It didn't hit me that might have been what was going on. Personally, I thought, because I know she got like a professional ass job, so I thought it was just, she was being professional. You know, she didn't want to post no thot shit. You can still be big and pretty. I'm going to advocate for you to be healthy. I'll advocate for you to get to a healthy weight. But if you ain't out here bothering nobody, because they got big girls that be out here bothering people.
Ma'am, no cap, that is Melinda. That is Melinda.
Melinda, thank you.
Yeah. I knew you was Latina, that's why I wanted to, you know what I'm saying?
Jessica.
Jessica, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What did you some earlier? No, like friends. I was making sure, I didn't know you were saying. She's okay, she's okay. Oh, this your man? This your man?
No, I don't know what's going on.
Why was you cop blocking, dog? Cause I can, dog. You're a bro. Yeah, I'm trying to go that way. Nah. Hey, you know him? You guys good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You know what?
If you have people in your friend group that act like this, get away from them. Get as far away from them as possible. I've been in a situation like this before. After the club, group of dudes talking to a female, two of my friends, I ain't gonna say friends, two of the people I was with decided to go talk to the same females. Situation escalated, and you tend to realize that the people that you think are tough are really not that tough. I'm not tough. I'm not no gangster. I was the one that had to get us out of that situation. You know what I'm saying? Thank God nobody got hurt. But at the same time, people like this, they're always gonna attract trouble.
Nah, this is crazy. Sure, come down. What's up, bro? Watch out, good. Go, walk that way. Watch out, good. Whoa, this one of these cops blocking right now. What's up with this, bro? I know, shoot. You know you not. Hey, Jessica. Bro, this shit is crazy, cuz. That's all I hate.
Yo, bro, did this man just say, yo, hold my jacket? So not only is he seed blocking, He really trying to look tough. I mean, I'm gonna keep it a band with you, bro. It seemed like a lost cause. She looked like she's not interested in you. But I get it, bro. Your ego don't want you to walk away because son is really trying to violate.
Hey, let's move. Can I get your number? Because I ain't really want to do all that. Can I get your number? You want me to give you my Instagram?
No, I don't have Instagram.
She just lied like shit. Alright, whatever. Bro, these hoes out, bro.
Bro, is either Big Boy a co-worker? But if Big Boy really don't know her, I'm gonna keep it a band with you. I wanna, you a bitch ass. You purposely went over there to throw salt in this man game. Whether she was going or not, she didn't need your help. That right there is goofy tactics. Then you try to take your jacket off like you was ready to fight. Now, if dude with the camera had did something to his ass, and folks would be at his funeral talking about, but he don't bother nobody. He ain't do nothing to nobody.
I just got hired and fired from a job in the same day. They told me to come by and pick up my uniform later, and Ben called me and said, I'm sorry, actually, we can't hire you because you basically said police on the internet, and you fuck with the police. So we just can't have that over here. And you know what? That's okay, because it's still fuck the police. I just got hired and...
My dad be warning me about that all the time. He's like, yeah, be careful what you post online because these jobs, they're going to see what you post online, they're going to see what you talk about, and they can either fire you or it can hinder you from getting hired. And he's right. He's right. Even though I don't think they should be doing that because, like, that's your personal time. Are you in there reviewing my Facebook? Don't do that. That's cheating. Because you as my boss, you putting on a facade too. That's not really who you are. You at work code switching. I'm code switching just like you code switching.
Before you judge how fast I run, you should at least know how it feels to carry 90 kgs of water nyash.
What? You ain't running too fast. She carrying a goddamn stagecoach. She ain't running too fast. Lord, let me stop.
I was talking to this guy, right? And his name is Darius. And for 7 months, this man acted like my boyfriend, texting me good morning every single day, taking me on dates, introducing me to his friends, all that bullshit. Telling me I'm different and that he's never felt this way before. 7 months of all this bullshit. So I asked him this one simple question. Where is this going? This looked me dead in my face and said, I'm not ready for a relationship right now. Nigga, what? Not ready for a relationship. After 7 months of auditioning for the role, so I just smiled and I looked at him and picked up my purse. And I left, cause I know this was expecting me to cry or ask what I did wrong. And I just haven't responded back. And this been on my phone every day trying to explain himself. And I've been leaving every single message on red because I don't negotiate with people that waste my time on purpose. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell y'all, there's no Darius. I've never been in a situationship. I invented Darius and his whole personality from scratch.
You know what though? Kudos to you for admitting there's no Darius. Some of these stories that these young ladies come up with on Instagram be so far-fetched, yet still at the end they don't admit that the stories are fake. But it is true. It is people out here that will waste your time. It is people out here that will audition for the role, do everything they can to prove that they're worthy of the job. And then when you offer them the position, oh no, I ain't ready for that. So why was you wasting my time?
Get this right. You bought my debt from the person that I burned.
Yeah.
And now you harassing me to pay you, the person that I didn't burn, the money back.
Ha. Preach.
That don't make sense. If I burnt them, what makes you think I'm gonna burn you? Nobody told your dumbass to buy the debt. I mean, by all means, if that's how you make your living, that's how you get your money, but you ain't getting money from me. So you done bought that debt for nothing. You bought the debt, you should have just paid it the off.
Bro, that's how I be feeling anytime them people call my phone. Anytime them people call my phone, hey, this is an attempt to collect. Collect what? What you collected? Don't do that. Don't do that. Because if I ran off on the plug, what make you think I ain't gonna run off on you? Matter of fact, this is the number you calling from. Bop, 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 bop. block, before y'all come out y'all face and say some shit like, oh, you not paying your bills? No, I'm gonna explain what it was. I'm driving to my dad's crib, and they got those cameras out there in the school zone. You know, school zone 25 in the school zone. I got a ticket for going 28 in the school zone. Now, I didn't even know they had cameras out there. I would pay the ticket if I knew I had the ticket. But what they was doing was they sent the ticket to my old address. They kept on sending them shits to the old address, and I never knew I had it. So eventually, like 8 months later, I get a call from a debt collector, and I'm like what? Who I owe? What you talking about? Then I go on the website, the city website, to try to pay the shit off, and now I can't pay it off. You think I'm about to pay them? I'm not paying them shit.
I'm biracial. My dad is black and my mom is white. And as a white passing mixed kid, I have had a front row seat to the deeply embedded racism of this country through a lifetime of hearing people say things that they wouldn't have said if they realized I was black. And I can tell you with confidence that the overt racism we see every day from the White House was born from white rage over the Obama administration. And because of this personal perspective, the population I pay the closest attention to when things like this happen are the mixed kids of conservative families. And I've come to know of a lot of Trump-supporting white women with black husbands and black children. And I'm not confident those women will ever see this, but if they do, this is what I would like to say to them. How you respond today to the President of the United States posting a video of our only black president as an ape will stick with your children for the rest of their lives. It will shape their racial identity, and it will become their inner dialogue for how the world sees them. Today, these white women, you are not just a mom. You are a mom of black children in America. This is not about you anymore. And I am begging you, be brave for them. Do this for them. It's not too late.
Everything that we going through right now is going to make it in them history books. The fact that our current president posted the former president and his wife as apes, they're going to be talking about this when your grandkids are in social studies class. And I hope I'm alive 25, 30 years from now to see how some of y'all change y'all tune. But it's going to be a few of y'all that's going to come with those crocodile tears. We didn't know that we were contributing to the racial divide. Every time I say I don't follow politics, people get upset. How the atmosphere on YouTube is right now, that's not how it was in 2019, 2020. I remember having conversations with people who follow politics, who couldn't wait for Trump to get back in office. And I remember saying, bro, it's not really the policies that you should be worried about. It's how the atmosphere would change. And I was explaining, I used to explain that shit, bro. I did a video on this shit. I did a whole video on this. And the video was taken down and it was marked as hate speech. But in my video, I was explaining how being in the South, I saw how things changed. I saw how things changed as soon as old boy got in office. The way certain people treated me and other people that looked like me, it was different. It was different from when I moved here in 2006. It was different when Obama was in the office. It was just different. It was like, now I have a chance to do and say what I've been thinking. I'm not saying Biden was the perfect president. I'm not saying that at all. And I remember specifically making this video, bro, and saying that, yo, if son come back in office, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be like the purge. And I think that's why my video got taken down. And boom, he got in office. We had a political assassination. The whole internet changed. We got YouTubers that I've been following for years, all of a sudden just saying borderline racist shit. So now with the new administration in office, you feel so confident in saying what you want to say with how you been feeling. I'm gonna be real with y'all. A lot of y'all are sheeps, bro. I respect my subscribers. I respect the fact that y'all look at my videos. But I want you to know, man, don't be a sheep. You are easily controlled. one reason why I don't really follow politics like that, and you know, people get mad when I say this, but you should ask a question: why? Why don't you follow politics like that? Because I feel as though the information you get is filtered. You're not sitting in the office with these people when they're making their decisions. You get it through a news source. And sometimes the news source you get it through is either for one side or the other. So they might get some information, and before they give it to you, they will filter it, and depending on what side you go for, that's what you're going to hear. And you got to be careful. See things for what they are. How things are going right now, as somebody who don't follow this shit, I could have told you that. It's division amongst black and white people. It's division amongst black and Hispanic people. It's division amongst black people.
Garland Favorito. Man, I appreciate you so much for coming back into the building. I had a great segment the last time you were here, and it's been great talking with you.
It's good to be with you, Eric. We appreciate, you got a great audience too. We really appreciate all the audience that's out there. They got our backs.
Oh yeah, and they were showing you some major support and love as well after the last time you were on the show. Really wanted to support and praise you for the work you've been putting in, not just in the last couple of years, but since 2020 happened and even before all that, which I know we're going to get into shortly.
Yeah, it's been a long battle, but we're finally starting to win now. It's getting fun.
Yeah, I love to see it. And let's go ahead and talk about it. I know you had a press conference yesterday. It was absolutely amazing. So much good information, specifically when it comes to your battles that you faced here in Fulton County, just trying to get the truth. So where would you like to start with what you talked about during the press conference and some of the battles you've had to face here, just getting information from Fulton County?
Well, we had, thanks for asking, we had 3 topics yesterday. That the one that I had filed a state election board complaint, which is fascinating because they kept telling me, replying to open records requests, that they didn't have the ballots that the FBI sees. So that's hilarious. Mm-hmm. And then the other issue is they filed this complaint to try to prevent the FBI from taking the ballots and not looking at them, which is kind of hilarious. And I predicted that they would. Well, first of all, they don't have standing to do that. Mm-hmm. And I thought that the hearing would be canceled. Pretty good chance, because it was an evidentiary hearing. You can't really have an evidentiary hearing for people who don't have standing, particularly if they're possibly the criminals who the FBI is investigating. So sure enough, this morning, the judge canceled the hearing for tomorrow.
That's amazing.
So, and they said he's sending them to mediation. He should have just dismissed the case. But that was the other thing. And then we walked through the FBI search warrant evidence because they're claiming they didn't have probable cause. And we walked through some of the probable cause that they do have, based on publicly available information.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like, anybody could have, almost any person out there who was familiar with what was going on could have created that affidavit with probable cause in it. So I guess wherever you would like to start on those 3 things, that's what we covered yesterday. And by the way, I'm sorry, before I stop, the press conference is out there on the voterga.org events tab, so anybody who's free to watch it. I think it's pretty fascinating.
Yes, and we dropped the link to voterga.org in the chat, and we've also got it in the description as well. You just go to the events tab and you'll be able to find everything there. Specifically talking about the hiding ballot situation, because again, as you said, I've talked about it at length here. We actually went through the affidavit for the search warrant step by step, and we saw the 3 major issues: the missing ballots, the duplicated ballots, and the tabulators, right? And it was so interesting to me to see that you're saying, and what your lawsuit, I believe, showed, was that Fulton County was hiding those ballots from you for multiple years.
Oh, right. So, I mean, if you want to go all the way back to the beginning, I'm trying to remember what we talked about. There's so much water on the dam since in the last week.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can't remember exactly what we discussed on the show last week. But yeah. So if you want to go back all the way to the beginning, we filed that case for the ballots in December 23 of 2020, and the reason we filed it was several reasons. One is, I was there at the hand count audit when they found the counterfeit ballot. Susie Boyles found the ballot. I think we may have talked about that last week.
Yes.
But they, it's obvious they were counterfeit because they were mail-in ballots, and they're trying to say that they weren't mail-in ballots, but they were mail-in ballots, and they were not folded from being mailed. They were not written with a writing instrument. It looked like they were toner copied, and they were not on the correct paper stock, and they were voted the same way down ballot for dozens of a row. So they were obvious counterfeits. And then, we had the State Farm Arena video. You can see some double scanning on that. So we filed the lawsuit on December 23rd of 2020, and that was what we call equal protection and due process. That means if they are not conducting elections properly, that's a violation of our federal and state constitutional due process. And if they injected counterfeit ballots, then it's an equal protection violation because it's diluting our votes. So that was the basis of our claim, and the judge we got an order to preserve the ballots and an order to unseal the ballots in 2021. So we got the order to preserve. We went to court on January 6th of 2021 of all dates. Mm-hmm. When everything was going on up in D.C., we were in the courtroom. Yeah. Fulton County said they wanted to go home. We had to stop the. It was a remote hearing, and we had to stop the hearing for them to go home because they were in the office and they were afraid that they were going to be attacked. Wow. But we got the preservation order the next day, and then in May we got the order to unseal. And then I guess it was September, October now, the judge said that we didn't have standing. We had to take that to the Supreme Court. We won, and Georgia Supreme Court came back. They said, yeah, you got standing. That reactivated the preservation order and the unseal order, so we should have been able to open discovery right then, but then they switched the case to another judge, and we had to file a motion to recuse because we knew this judge was bad. Oh, man. And, based on his previous handling of the David Perdue case and making these snide remarks and extrajudicial commentary in ruling against him. So anyway, that's kind of the background of how we got all the way up to the search warrant. But along the way, and what we talked about yesterday in the press conference was that I filed 4 open records requests for the ballot. So our attorney back in 2024 said, okay, well, the order to unseal is back, and there's only a 2-year limit on sealing the ballot. See, this is the other thing that people don't understand, and that Fulton County is trying to claim, well, the ballots are sealed forever by 21-500. It's a certain Georgia statute. Right. And they said, but if you read the statute, and we showed this in the video yesterday, if you read the statute, it says it's only sealed for 2 years. Yep. Mm-hmm. So my attorney said, hey, it's been 2 years. Why don't you file an open records request for the ballots while we're waiting for this judge who's not going to do anything? So I said, okay, that sounds like a good idea. So I filed these 2 open records requests, and the Board of Elections said, we don't have any responsive records. So that means that they didn't have the ballots, and I asked for the same ballots that the FBI seized on January 28th. At least we're told that they seized them. I think that they did. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all the Fulton County officials says that the FBI's got the ballots now. So we'll see. I think they do. And they just lied to me all along. But Absolutely. At the same time, the clerk, so I said, okay, I filed it against the clerk. And because the BOE, they play this shell game. they said, we can't give you the ballots. The clerk's got them. So, okay, so I'll but they didn't say that. They just said they didn't have any ballots. So I filed against the clerk. And then we've come to find out they're not in the open records request portal. So my wife and I had to hand deliver the open records request to the clerk's office and get it signed. And then I emailed them a copy the next day. And they said, well, we don't have the ballots, we either. They said, there's no responsive records. And they say, well, you requested them, and we requested them in a 600 DPI format so that we could detect counterfeits. And which is standard copier. Every standard copy is going to copy in 600 DPI. And they said, well, we don't have the records in the requested format. Well, that's not the law. The open records request law is they have to copy the records. If you ask for a copy of their records, they have to copy the records. So if they had a man of standard copy, the standard copy would have been in the format that we requested. But basically, they refused to even copy the records that they had. So that was 2024, and then we worked for 4 years because of this. They kept saying this. And we got this law passed in 2020 that effective in 2025. It was SB 189 was the bill number, and that made ballots public record. It took us 4 years, and what that says is, regardless of what this statute 21-500 says, right? Because you can try to interpret this, we want to make it now crystal clear for you. I call it the Fulton County ballot law. And they say, we will make it crystal clear that you, as the superintendent, had to get the ballots from the clerk if there's any question, and we don't care what 21-500 says, you've got to deliver the ballots to an open records requester. And so they made it crystal clear. And every county agrees that that's what the law says, except for Fulton County. And Fulton, so I sent the open records request again for 2 more times, sent it to the clerk. The clerk said, no responsive records. And by the way, the law doesn't apply to us anyway. So we said, okay, well, then we'll send it to the Board of Elections. And the Board of Elections says, no responsive records. And they were required to go get the records. So they basically lied, and really, effectively, they lied 4 times. But there is one, that particular one is particularly egregious because the code explicitly orders them to go get the ballots, and they refuse to do it. So I filed the state election board complaint. We've learned never to file a claim against Fulton County in a Fulton County court system. Because they're always going to rule. That's one of the dumbest things I've done. But we learned big time that that's we shouldn't have done that. So anyway, so I filed a state election board complaint because now we've got these. It's been, as you know, it's been reconfigured. Yes. The state election boards, and we got some really top-notch. They're great heroines on there. Yeah, patriots who are. They are all about election integrity. So hopefully that case will come up next month. Yes. And we will. Fulton County is going to have some more explaining to do in March. So that's kind of the backstory of that election board case that I filed.
So with that new law, it seems like, we've heard rumors from sources in D.C. that criminal charges may be a result of what happened during this FBI raid into Fulton County. And now with that new law, I mean, it seems like there may be some issues with the clerk potentially being held liable or pulled into this because they weren't willing to help provide the information that you and even the state election board said they were looking for.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And with the clerk now, this is really interesting because now they just added the clerk onto that lawsuit in the last day or 2.
Oh, no, so I didn't see that. Wow.
Oh, yeah. So the clerk, because they didn't have any standing at all. I think we may have talked about this, government, they're making constitutional claims, and government agencies don't have constitutional rights. and individuals in their official capacities don't really have constitutional rights either. But so they put they knew they didn't have any standing, so they tried to get the clerk on the case. She didn't want to go on because she's, a clerk is a neutral party, and she said this herself. But she went on the case anyway, at their insistence, obviously, and a lot of pressure. And now, as you said, now this implicates her in the cover-up. Because now she's trying to hide the ballots from the voters of Georgia. And not only that, she went into court. You're not going to believe this one. You can't make this stuff up. She went into court in June of 2024 and saying that they wanted to destroy the ballot. And because they didn't have room for them. Yeah. So June of 2024, we have this.
Can I help you?
Hello, Mr. Monroe.
Can I help you?
How you doing, sir? This is Dell reaching out to you from Lending Force. I was just calling you in regards to your property on Huntington Drive. I'd really like to see what your goals are moving forward. If you may have been interested in a refinance option to borrow some cash.
No.
Are you shopping around for an offer?
No, I'm not.
Can I interest you in a free quote? There's no credit pull. It's just to give you an example of what the offer looks like. If you ever decide to accept it, can I get you a free quote over the phone, super fast?
No, thank you.
No, not really interested in that. I mean, do you have any future plans in mind, sir, to consolidate your dad's home improvement cash in the bank?
I don't have any debts.
Oh, no way. Hey, lucky you, man. All right, no worries. Well,
want to destroy the ballots because we don't have room for them. Now, this is after they have just bought they paid $30 million for that 660,000 square foot warehouse they have down in Fairburn, Georgia. Beautiful facility, nice facility, and it's empty. And so they're going into court with a straight face, telling the judge they don't have room for the ballots. They didn't want to destroy them. And the judge, even this judge, said, "Well, no, I've got other preservation orders on these ballots." So, so then after all that, then she turns around and goes onto this lawsuit, claiming that she is an aggrieved party after she said she wanted to destroy the ballots. So it's an absolute matter of court record that she wanted to destroy the ballots and she didn't need them. And now she goes on this court, and to get to your point, she's lying because she's not an aggrieved party. In order to be on that lawsuit, you've got to be an aggrieved party. So now you've got the clerk of the court dragged into this, along with the Board of Elections and the commission. I mean, all of Fulton County is now criminally complicit in this cover-up of not producing the ballots for the voters of Georgia 5 years ago.
Yeah, and again, I think going into the search warrant and the affidavit, that may lead into and be a part of the FBI's case, in my mind, to show intent, right? Because if you've got all of these situations that are continuing to happen, someone simply asking or filing an open records request and showing pushback or being lied to, that was the biggest, again, and I'm not an attorney, I'm just someone looking at this affidavit with common sense, but that was the biggest issue for me, was showing the intent. And you're saying that you've seen intent on top of intent times 10 in these cases.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a no-brainer to show, that something really bad is wrong. I think you've got the best point, though. The fact that they would hide these from the voters for 5 years and make up every conceivable excuse and every lie on the book that they could think of that does to me say criminal intent. And we haven't even gotten to any of the facts of what the FBI has either.
Yeah, let's get into it.
We walked through yesterday, and it's always great to have the. It's probably really, really good to look at the press conference on the Voter J events tab. But we walked through the 5 claims of the probable cause that they have.
Yes.
And one of them was, we were told that the counts all added up.
No.
And they don't. There's all kinds of mismatches and stuff. The governor even produced a report based on our evidence, thanks to a lot of the work that Joe Rossi did, and as well as David Cross. But he produced a report and sent it over to the state election board saying that this stuff doesn't add up. And we walked through how the original count, the recount, and the audit never matched up, and it didn't even match with the number of voters who voted out of the voter registration system.
Right.
And it's not like they were off like half a dozen.
Thousands.
They were off tens of thousands. Thousands of votes off. So that's one thing. Then there was the missing records you mentioned. There's already a criminal referral for that, for missing the tabulator tapes, or either they were missing or unsigned. Most of them were missing for 315,000 ballots, all the early voting, almost all of it.
Wow.
Except for 1 or 2 tapes. So those are already criminal referrals. So we already have evidence of probable cause in the public domain. So that's one thing. That's two things. We talked about the counterfeit ballots. That's 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was the double scan ballots. We know that 3,930 ballots were double scanned. We know that. I'm sorry, not just double scanned, but we know this from Philip Davis that they were also double counted. They tried to claim, well, they were double scanned. We don't know if they were double counted. Well, they're lying. Every image creates a cast vote record, and every cast vote record was certified. So they were not only double scanned, but they were double counted. And now you got the fact that the Secretary of State's legal counsel lied about it. So now she becomes criminally complicit in this. So that's more probable cause of criminal activity that they can investigate. And then finally, you got the most mysterious one of all, was how on December the 3rd, I guess it was the 2nd, the deadline for certification was December 2nd, the final certification.
Mm-hmm.
And Fulton was off 16 or 17,000 ballots in the batches. They had reported a 527,000 number, and they only had 511,000 ballots batched up in their batch report that were loaded. So where did the other 16,000 votes come from? Well, we don't know, but suddenly they appeared, the next day, and by December 4th, they had literally, it appears to have manufactured 16,000 votes. Now, we're yet to see what the excuse for that is, but again, that's certainly probable cause of a crime. So that's kind of the nutshell of the probable cause stuff that we talked about yesterday.
Well, I'm sure it's just a clerical error, right? It's 16,000 votes, not a big deal at all.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, especially with the FBI's investigation, because we saw some pretty major and it seems like simple explanations for what happened, especially even when it came down to the text in the files that were generated by the tabulator tapes in a lot of different instances. And I think one of the major things that wasn't talked about that you addressed was the mail-in ballot section of that, which we haven't heard a lot about as well. So can you kind of speak to, from an evidence standpoint, what you were seeing with the mail-in ballot specifically during that election?
Yeah, well, it was basically just exactly like what I was saying earlier, They weren't folded from being mailed. They weren't written with a writing instrument. They weren't on the correct paper stock. They were voted the same way, down ballot for dozens of a row. I was there the day that they found them, so it was Susie Voiles and Barbara Hartman. I think they were originally found them, but we ended up with 6 sworn affidavits, 4 from senior poll managers and 2 audit monitors, who all looked at it, and they brought this to the attention of Nadine Williams, who was now the current elections director, and they are saying that she said, there's no provision for how to handle counterfeit ballots, what to do, and she said, just keep on counting. Wow. And that's what they did. So those ballots are still in the counts somewhere. We don't know how many, but there are, the FBI should be able to find a certain number of counterfeit ballots, and I think they're going to find out that Fulton is short by 16 or 17,000 ballots when they actually do the investigation, and it is a criminal investigation, of course.
Yeah, and it's interesting with that point. We've heard Brad Raffensperger double, triple, quadruple down on the accuracy of these recounts, the accuracy of the audit, the accuracy of the second recount after that. I'm having trouble seeing how he justifies that with, again, someone who's not an attorney and myself looking at this and seeing that there was just a major discrepancy throughout all 3 votes. I don't think, how do you justify that on that side?
Well, yeah, and here's what Brad's problem is, and it's not just him, it's other people. They know that they can go and make up any lie, and they know that the news media will print whatever lie that they will come up with. They know that it will be broadcast. So they've got their sources, and that's what they do. I mean, the AJC has been a huge problem. Georgia Public Broadcasting has been a problem. Yeah. So he relies on the fact that he knows that he can lie and get away with it, and that's it's not just him, it's politicians that do this all the time. So they will propagate whatever he says. Now the average person knows that 315,000 missing or unsigned tabulator tapes is not a clerical error.
No, but that's intentional.
I know. I mean, everybody, any average person can see that, but yet they will, he will propagate that lie. AJC will print it. Georgia Public Broadcasting might as well. We've had a lot of issues with them, and it'll go up to other places like MSNBC, or they had a bunch of garbage on in the last day or two about this too.
Yeah.
So and so he can get away with it, even though everybody, but people like you and me, almost the average Joe on the street knows that it, if they were told that, would know better. But that's why we need, podcasts like Class E to get the word out of what the actual truth is. So we, appreciate y'all so much.
Yeah, I appreciate the work that you've been doing as well. I mean, getting a law change that is significantly, and one could argue even helped get the FBI to the point they're at now, because that was, I want to go back to that too. That was the biggest thing for me, where I heard and I saw that the ballots were actually sealed. But you definitely gave me more information when it comes to how that process works, because I said, well, the FBI might be able to take them, but I don't know if the judge lifted that seal, because they might not be able to actually look at them, and Fulton County may be able to get those back. But you're saying now, not only with the new law passed, but with Rob Pitts basically misrepresenting his authority in this case, that they're going to be able to hold on to these, which is probably why it's been canceled tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. And in fact, if we want to talk about the authority, this is kind of fascinating. I was actually on Bannon this morning to talking about this on the War Room. Yeah. And so the standing issue
First of all, they're making constitutional claims. They made the Fourth Amendment unreasonable search and seizure claim, and they're making a First Amendment claim. So the First Amendment claim is particularly an egregious lie because they're claiming now the FBI can link ballots and voters together.
Right.
Well, wait a minute. If that was true, then Fulton County has been violating the law, the Georgia ballot secrecy law for decades.
Yep.
But it's not true. It's a lie. You add a ballot, you can't link it to a voter. There's no way to know what voter voted that ballot. There's all sorts of procedures in place to ensure that there is no link between voters and ballots. So that's a lie. But the even more significant is that none of these government agencies, there's Fulton County, Fulton Board of Elections, Fulton Commission on this lawsuit. They don't have constitutional rights. Constitutional rights are for you and me, U.S. citizens.
Right.
So those claims were so ridiculous, and the judge didn't even pay attention to those claims when he produced this order today. So those are out. And then the other problem is Chairman Pitts and Clerk Alexander are on in their official capacities.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have any constitutional rights in their official capacities. So that's a whole nother thing. And then you have the whole issue that if they're on as their individual rights, they don't have if they're on as individuals, they still don't own the ballots. The ballots are not their personal possession. So they have this whole issue that they don't have any constitutional rights. So then that brings us to this 41G criminal procedure thing, which is the whole basis of the case.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so there's a 4-part test. I got a little note here I might have to read to make sure I get this right. So there's a 4-part test. Now, in order to get the ballots returned, they would have to meet, they being Fulton County, have to meet all 4 parts.
Okay.
So the first part says whether the government would have to have displayed a callous disregard for their constitutional rights. Well, first of all, they didn't have any constitutional rights in this case.
Exactly.
Because they really don't have any standing. And second of all, the government got a normal search warrant the way they normally do, and that's not a callous disregard for constitutional rights. So they fail on the first test that they had to make. The second test is that whether the plaintiff has an individual interest in and a need for the material whose return he seeks. Well, they don't have an individual interest because they're not. None of the plaintiffs on the case are individuals, so they have no individual interest, and they don't have any need for the material because it's just sitting in the warehouse, sealed up, and it's used. So they fail again on 2 points on the second point, the second test. Then the third one says whether the plaintiff would be irreparably injured by denial of the return of the property. Well, they're not irreparably injured because, as we just talked about earlier, the clerk went in to the court and said she wanted to destroy the ballots. So how can they be irreparably injured
if it's
from
trash?
Something? Yeah. If it was, if it was trash. Yeah, so if the FBI wants their trash,
yeah, exactly.
How would they be irreparably injured? I'm going to remember that. I'm going to use that on some other show. That is funny. Yeah, so they're not irreparably injured, and then the fourth test is whether the plaintiff has an adequate remedy at law for the redress of their grievance. Well, the problem with that is you've got to be an aggrieved party according to the criminal procedure, and they've got to show that they were aggrieved. So how were they aggrieved in this whole matter by having the FBI conduct a criminal investigation? Them having the ballots, there's no way that they are aggrieved from this whole thing. They can't establish that. So they can't establish any one of the 4 parts that they would have to establish in order to have a case in the first place. The only way they could be irreparably harmed or aggrieved is if the FBI finds out that they have in fact committed crimes. And I don't think that's what the statute was meant to do. So
absolutely,
that's kind of the background of their trash that they want to keep.
Yeah. And again, we've seen, even to that point, we've seen so much posturing, not only by election officials, Rob Pitts, Brad Raffensperger, but we've just heard outright blatant lies about what happened during 2020 and even the work that you and the FBI have been doing on this case. But specifically, we've heard Rob Pitts and several election officials say that they feel like this is, again, a violation of the constitutional rights, which you've addressed, and also a threat on democracy. And I wanted to ask you about this. When you hear those things, when you hear that type of narrative being said, I know you've spoken to the news printing it, so they have to say it. But in your mind, what does that make you feel about what's actually behind the scenes of what happened during the 2020 election and elections we've seen in the past?
Well, first of all, it makes me feel I need a shovel.
Yeah.
I have to dig myself out of all the crap that is being spewed out. So that would be probably number one. But number two is, I mean, we've known for some time that the ballots will not support the results that they certify, and that, I think that's really the problem. They know that, we know that. We know they know that.
Calling Oakland the third world of America because it has gotten so bad here that crime has risen to unprecedented levels. Right now, here in Oakland, 1 in every 30 residents have had their car stolen in the past couple years.
Well, how did someone manage to steal the mayor's car? That is the big question being asked in Oakland tonight after a thief got into City Hall and then got away with Mayor Barbara Lee's city-issued car.
It's getting crazy out here. We're here at a parking lot, and right behind us here is Oakland. Today we're going to be going into some of these encampments here inside of this area of Oakland. We're in the San Antonio district, it says here on this Burger King. We're going to get going. It's going to get interesting. Here we go. Let's do this. So this is just on the side of the highway here in Oakland. People are here stationed off in their RVs, whatever. They even have laundry. They have a laundry. They have a washer and dryer on the outskirts of here. Let's see if we can talk to these people right here really quick. How you guys doing? We're just seeing what's going on here in Oakland. People are saying this is a third world city here in America.
What I could tell you is this is the land of the pimping hoes, man. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's shit going on out here.
Yeah, what kind of stuff, what kind of activities going on out here?
Turn around and look. Right here. You see her? Mm-hmm. That's what kind of activities going on out here. We getting some money, brother.
Okay,
y'all be safe, man.
All right. We just got a straight interview with a pimp. She's an adult worker. Wow. Can we talk to you really quick? We're just seeing what's going on. We just talked to a pimp and a adult worker right there. Does that happen often here?
Yeah, look where you're at.
People are saying this is the third world city of America.
Tenderloin's where it's at.
Yeah, Tenderloin's over there in San Francisco. We're here in Oakland. I used to live in South America, and this
is a lot worse than any other place in the world, probably. I've been all around the world, and this is a shithole.
What can we expect to see today here?
A bunch of prostitutes, probably like some crackheads, junkies, nothing that fun or exciting.
They say that this is like the bimping capital as well. 1 out of every 30 cars here get stolen. This car got stolen. Wheels are slashed. This car doesn't even have wheels on the back of it. Somebody stole the wheels off this one. Like, these RVs are parked right here as well. And this goes on for about a mile down this road. We're gonna go all the way down. But what people have done here is they set up all these RVs here. And then once you go even down farther, it is more people setting up their own tents, like almost nearly like favela type of levels of poverty out here. Let's see if we can go inside this laundromat and talk. Where are you from? ¿De dónde eres?
El Salvador.
She's from El Salvador. Outside here, it looks pretty bad. Is this worse than a third world country, would you say? Afuera se ve muy mal. Diría que está peor que un tercer mundo ahí.
Sí,
mucho peor.
So that's a lot worse than a third world. And what do you see out here? ¿Y qué es lo que ve afuera de aquí?
Pues yo no vivo aquí, solamente vengo a lavar.
She just comes here to do laundry.
Yo vivo allá en Seminary, East Oakland, Seminary.
Yeah, she lives in East Oakland. Wow.
Y allá es igual. Donde quiera tiran basura.
Same there. Throw garbage wherever you like. Estoy traduciendo lo que está diciendo. Why do you think here in the United States we can see something like this happen if we are a first world country? Why do you think they're even allowing this to happen here on the side of the highway here in Oakland? Somos un primer mundo, ¿cierto? ¿Por qué piensa que aquí están aprobando o están dejando gente para hacer eso afuera de la carretera?
Sí, yo pienso que los dejan hacer todo eso, sí. No.
She says she thinks she just lets them do it. This is interesting. All right. Muchas gracias por su tiempo, señora. Que vaya muy bien. Que tenga buen día. How you doing? Good. What do you think about what's going on here in Oakland right here?
Sad.
Sad. It is sad.
Depressing.
Why do you think it's allowed to happen here?
The city, they have other plans. They don't have plans to restore the city. You know, I have a buddy that knows the mayor, and I overheard a conversation with him and her once. Pretty much just doesn't really care.
And how much does it cost to live around here?
It's close to $2,000.
For right here?
A one-bedroom apartment. Yep.
$2,000. Wow.
Close to $2,000.
Like major sport teams like the A's left here. Even the Golden State Warriors, their stadium was here, or their arena was here in Oakland. They left. San Francisco 49ers, they were in San Francisco. They even left that area of the Bay to move to like Santa Clarita or something like that. So 3 major sport teams have left these areas here.
And it's all because the city has different plans.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, sir. Have a great rest of your day. Look, these RVs, that's a nice trailer. That one right there, that's a huge camping trailer. Here we go. What's up? We're here with the guy, Darren. We met Darren yesterday in the 10 He said, you got to come down here, see what's going on with Oakland. Where are we going right now, Darren?
We are entering what has become known as Kamalaville.
We're in the Burger King parking lot. So this is the front door here to get inside the Burger King. Darren is saying that somebody drove a car right through here to come in and try to rob their register. So you can't even come into the Burger King from this entry point right here.
First ever In-N-Out in the entire country to ever close down in the history of In-N-Outs was Oakland, California. As everyone and their moms know, Keith Lee, the acclaimed TikTok food critic, came to the Bay Area and unfortunately advised everyone to dine elsewhere. Although our cuisine is to die for, it's worldly. It's just, unfortunately, you might die trying to eat here. And it's really sad. It's not safe for women and children. We are entering Kamalaville, and honestly, we're just going to walk on through here and check things out. But the last time I was at this specific RV, somebody pulled out a pistol on me.
There's already drug paraphernalia. How do you say that word, paraphernalia? Paraphernalia out here.
So the city provides, by the way, breathe through your nose. Don't be breathing in through your mouth out here. We probably should have brought goggles. There's a lot of pestilence out here.
Wow, look at this. This is worse than something I've never seen before.
I've been to Brazil. And I would say this is far worse than anything in a third world country. Brazil is much cleaner than this.
Yeah, I said earlier on the stream that this is like a favela. Worse, probably, right?
Yeah.
Like, look at this, the self-abandonment here. And then what are these little pods right here?
This is where the gun was pulled out on me, so I kind of want to talk to the treehouse guy, not the guy with the gun.
Wow, the treehouse. We're going in. Here we go. Let's let Darren go in and talk for a quick second.
Are you home?
Let's see if his name's Freddie. How you doing, sir? We're just trying to talk to Freddie, who lives in the treehouse. Freddie, not home?
You want to do an interview, fam?
Sure, I got a dollar bill.
I got a little key.
Here's a $1 bill. Let's see. Here, Brooker T.
You have one more $1?
You want to hear some real live shit, though, man?
What dollar? Look, we got a bulldog out here, unleashed.
He's friendly.
Here, I guess I got $1. Here's
This is the last $1. We want to know what it's like living out here. Has the city ever came to offer you any resources? They get millions of dollars. Have you seen a single dollar from the city?
But they ain't came to offer nothing. They came with some fake little signs saying that they're going to basically help us out, right? But there's no help, man. There's no help.
How long you been out here for?
Been out here for like a year now.
And what brought you out here?
Different stuff that happens at home, you know what I mean? Different home, and then the economics of just, losing jobs and stuff, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you lived out here, you know how it is, you know what I mean?
How are people living out here?
They living bad, you know what I mean? But not everybody's like mentally fucked up. You know what I mean? Some people's on drugs. You know, some people's on drugs. Some people mentally, you know, fucked up. You know, they got people like you out here too, like young kids, man, smart as fuck, building shit like this, though. You know what I mean?
How old's the youngest person you've seen out here?
Like 17.
17 years old, living out here in Oakland in these circumstances right here. How long has it been like this here?
About 2 years.
About 2 years. So it's just like recently. 2
years, yeah, recently. But it just migrated over, you know what I mean? People start burning down each other's shit, and then, you know, they move from West Oakland to East Oakland. This shit is all around. It needs some help out here, just period.
And have you ever been contacted by a city official or by anybody here in the city?
Nobody.
Would you accept help if the city gave you guys help?
Yeah, you would accept help.
Well, that's enough. Okay, he's called it. All right, have a good rest of your day. Right here, this mural says she can CUM for you, but that 304 Gopher loves.
We got a lot to see, but
Look,
here
we got the cops.
We have Oakland's finest.
We just can't really talk about all the other stuff just because like we can get in trouble for it.
Well,
So
we'd have to refer
Privacy
to the
laws.
media thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I can forward you guys over to our media person.
You guys have a blessed day.
Have a good one.
You guys be safe.
Look, the cops pull through. They didn't even do any. They didn't stop or talk to anybody. They just come through, patrol the area. I mean, look, Darren. This is next
look at
level.
This treehouse right here. It's really sad to think we have families out here, entire family units out here surviving on the streets.
All right, watch where we step.
There's a lot of dead rats and things, pestilence, and so we're just gonna be in and out. We want to limit our exposure.
Wow, this is it's like they have these pods out here. There's one right here, one right here. These sheds. Maybe were these sheds originally created to give homes to homeless?
So this used to be like a grass field on the side of the freeway, and it's almost as if San Francisco and Oakland are the modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, this is absolutely apocalyptic.
I just can't believe what we're seeing right here. We got abandoned, like obviously not abandoned shoes, but shoes that are literally like dug into the ground that are part of the floor here now. We got old car parts, a ton of equipment. We got a saw right there. Somebody lives right here because there's actually a very nice bike right here. So somebody is living here. Let's get out of here. It stinks. Got some weird smells coming through here. Look at all the mattress. Look at all the buildup right here. If you're missing a luggage from the airport, there's a big one right there. Literally just the pile up of stuff. You got bikes here. These are nice bikes. A cardboard home set up here. And I mean, all this is just garbage. I mean, it doesn't really have any utility, any of this stuff. I mean, look at this tire. They have a tire. They couldn't get the wheel for it. Oh my gosh, there's 2 dead rats. Oh, that scared the crap out of me. How you doing?
Well, we'll interview you at home, huh?
Well, I was here, one of the longest guys that's been here, the OG, they call me.
You're the OG. What do you even call this place?
This is behind the Burger King Shanty Town.
And how long have you been out here for?
It'll be 6 years, January 15th.
Wow, so you've been living out here for 6 years. We're seeing these little sheds. Were these sheds created for people to come live in?
For us original dwellers that have been here.
Okay, so 6 years ago,
there was a dozen of them built.
Okay.
And we were going to be the ground floor, and they were going to continue right up here and just keep on going. But unfortunately, we have certain residents, and I don't want to point any fingers, but they like to collect stuff. And this is their product right here. This is what they got. And because of that, they discontinued our project over here.
And so you live inside that house?
I live in one center of me.
Can you show us what it looks like inside? All right, we're going in. You want me to grab a flashlight?
I never finished it up on the inside. Want to take a look?
Yeah, so...
Take a quick look. Sure what you did.
Wow, so this is where you're sleeping?
Yes.
Wow, sure.
Back when they built these shanties, I was in a walker for a couple of years when I first got here.
Really?
But they were going to use the lumber package. We were all given a certain amount of lumber with a value of about $2,000. And these were the ground floor was 8 by 12. And that's a standard shack.
So 4 years ago, these were built, and these were built for people that lived here in Oakland that were homeless to live in.
All of us that were here for the longest time.
For the longest time. And how many were built?
12.
And then why did they stop building?
Because a couple of our residents wouldn't adhere to what the group wants. Our rules were you have an 8 foot around your base property right here, and that is your property, period. No extensions, there's no collections of what he calls his other personal belongings. Because of one person mostly, he not only just accumulated more and more and more. See over here, this area, that whole central area, from that pole right there, that central area, all the way up to that street, and all that stuff on the sidewalk, and then out there on the island is all his collecting.
So do you have to pay anything to live here? And this is what the government did. They had a plan to come, not the government?
Volunteer group.
A volunteer group made this, so not even the government.
Government did nothing for us there as far as building.
Does the government ever come to see how you guys are doing?
Well, we had fire inspectors and things like that. We have an inspection team come over to see that everything was up code. This is fire retardant material that is built out of. Many of them burnt down.
Where do you go to the bathroom and shower?
Kind of personal, but I use a bucket and throw away plastic bag.
Right here in California, where the richest of the rich live. Gavin Newsom, your governor here, he just recently bought a home that I think was around $9 million in the San Francisco area. $9 million. And here you are, a veteran, and this is shantytown. I remember many years ago seeing something like this in India, and I just couldn't even fathom it with my brain that this could actually exist anywhere. And here we are in Oakland, California, you know, just miles away from Nancy Pelosi's street up there on the hill. In 2022, she was reportedly worth $125 million. Why couldn't she give some of that millions? Just is so frustrating and so awful to see people living like this. And I bet you feel just blessed to have shelter over your head at night.
I am. I try to take care of it, but it's very difficult with people coming and going. They're using me as a throughway to get down to there.
So people walk through your house to go down here.
Yeah. That's all that area that was open. That was all public land right there for us.
Of knocking on your door first.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, certainly, yeah.
And I gotta say, as a United States veteran, it's absolutely horrible to see how our government is taking care of our veterans. You served our country honorably, and here you are living in third world conditions.
We're helping out the third world countries. We can't help the veterans.
And how do you feel knowing migrants who just walk across our border are
I'm infuriated.
I'm infuriated. I gotta tell you,
I serve my country to take care of my country's people.
These guys walk across our border. They get immediately handed a 4-star luxury hotel, a $10,000 gift card, and it's really sad to see that illegal immigrants are taken better care of by the government than our United States veteran. This is heartbreaking. What was your name?
Administration is selling out our country. You know. My name is Mr. Smith.
And I want to ask you, though, before we say goodbye to you, where did you serve for our military?
Well, when I joined, because of the draft was abolished at that time when I turned 18, a couple of years later, I just went ahead and joined, and they were already coming home from Vietnam, so I joined as a clerk typist. That was my contract I signed. They noticed I did a class in cooking, and I did very well, so they asked me to be a cook. That's what I did.
So you were a cook for our military?
Cook for a couple of years, that's all.
And what did you do for a living before you ended up here?
Home improvement.
I'm glad you have a roof over your head, but I'm sad that it's this type of circumstances. But you seem like you're put together and you're making the best of your life.
There are a lot of things that we can do to keep ourselves in health, good health.
Were you happy that Kamala Harris didn't win to be president?
Terribly happy. Oh, yes. I can't believe she even made it that far. It's just insane. It's insane that our country...
Shout out to everybody that joined the membership program. I really appreciate you. It's another way that you can support the channel and also get access to things that I do that are not normally on the podcast. And why do I do that? It's because I want to show love to people that have been supportive of the channel, people that want a little more than just the commentary that we do on a day-to-day basis for absolutely free. So I'll say this, I've been doing free content ever since I started, and I will always do free content. But there's people who want to do more, want to see more, want to be involved, want to help us be able to venture outside of the podcast room and travel and do things and, you know, some fun things that we can do outside of political commentary. And shout out to all the members because you make that possible. So if you want to join the membership program, just hit the join button somewhere, join the membership, find the level that you want to be at. We're going to innovate the memberships here soon. We're working on it right now, that we're going to get different tiers. We're going to have different perks. We're going to do giveaways. I want to do another part. I don't know if I talked to the guys about this, is that some of the members want to maybe have stuff that they want me to talk about. So if you're at a certain membership level, you can make a request for me to make the video. And if I choose the video that you requested, we'll give you a shout out and also do the content that you chose. So we got so many great things going on. Shout out to Verdict. I mean, I think we're almost selling out of our second batch. The best bourbon in America, in my personal opinion, and everybody that has wrote a review has said it's their top 5 bourbon, some of the best bourbon they ever had. I'm telling you, go look at the reviews. And go right now, verdictbourbon.com, verdictbourbon.com. You got to be 21 and over, and make sure you drink responsibly.
If I buy one double cheeseburger, I get another one for $1.
Drink, you're looking for something that give you sustainable energy without the crash.
Yes, buy
no
one, add one for
sugar,
$1.
all
And that's all I want.
Go with Synergy. Also, if you struggle with sleep at night, literally our marketing company that we work with, the owner of the marketing company is in love with Synergy Night. He said he is going to be a customer for the rest of his life. That's incredible to have from the person that's helping us market Synergy. So, also follow me on Substack. We got 14,000 people that follow me on Substack. Follow me on the podcast. You can listen to the podcast when you're riding in your car or you're working out. And follow me at The Officer Tatum on all social media platforms. Let's get into this. Stephen A. Smith on Dave Rubin Show. Some of you guys, I'm going to warn you, you're going to be slightly upset, maybe slightly offended. Let's get the timer started. Slightly offended at some things that Stephen A. Smith is going to say. Why, Brandon, are you promoting what he's saying on Dave Rubin Show, even though it could be counter to what you believe in part? It is because we need to understand that there are moderate people that think like Stephen A. Smith. He does agree with conservatives on a lot of things, but there are moderate positions that he takes that show family members and friends who are reasonable, they take the same position. So it's good to hear what they have to say and then have a reasonable response, to what they say, so you can be very, I guess, cognitively aware when you're having a conversation with some of your family members that you love and you care about and they're still sane. Because the other ones are not sane and you should not waste your time talking to them. All right, let's start with the first clip. Stephen A. Smith, roll it.
Well, let me say this about Donald Trump. To me, I don't even get in his policies. Like, for example, 2028 election. I'm not ruling out the possibility that if I don't run, that I wouldn't vote for a guy like Marco Rubio. I respect Marco Rubio. This man is a former senator. He's the President's Secretary of State. He's the National Security Advisor. He's an adult in the room. I look at J.D. Vance and I see somebody that aspires to be Trump-ish, engaging in populism as opposed to actually getting the work done. When Trump congratulated Marco Rubio on the job that he did Tuesday night, he barely wanted to stand up and acknowledge the chairs. He ain't got time for all of that. I can relate. I'm like that. He got time for all of that. Got a job to do.
I'm really glad you brought that up.
This fawning and this fawning over Trump by everybody. I mean, other than Marco Rubio, everybody that you see talking, it drives me crazy. It's little stuff like this, but it's a big thing. Every single person that speaks on behalf of Trump, the first word I just want to thank the great president that we have and the great leader. It's all of this fawning. It's like it's a requirement before you say hello. You're just looking at them and saying, who are you? Are you really about doing the job, or are you really about appeasing and pleasing him so you can keep your job? What the hell is going on? I don't have time for all of that. So what I'm saying to you is, when I look at a guy like Donald Trump, my issue with him, not respectful, doesn't have the proper decorum, the statesmanship that I'd like from the presidency, because I believe he provokes chaos instead of galvanizing folks to come together. That's my belief about him. And it's very hard for me to say that because I had a good relationship with him before he was running for president. That's why you don't hear me calling him some of the names that some of these people on the left call him. I knew him before that, and I know a whole bunch of people from my community that knew Donald Trump before he ran for president. We never had an issue with that man. We didn't have an issue with that man at all. He runs for president now, and he seems to be addicted to the get back all the damn time. That's why I call his second term a vengeance tour, because everything is about the get back. Everything is about validating what he was proclaiming and what has happened to him. So at some point in time, you got to move forward. And in the process of saying all
right, He's going to get to the next topic, but let me address this real quick. I don't disagree with him to a certain degree. The only disagreement I have with Stephen A. on this is that there's a time and a place for a Donald Trump in society. And if we did not have Donald Trump with his arrogant behavior sometimes, I think he's very generous in other times, but some of his behavior is arrogant and he's, he's self-centered in certain aspects, and that he does have a revenge mindset in his third term, actually, it should be. But I understand that, and it's necessary. It's like a necessary evil. Donald Trump is not perfect. Donald Trump do say crazy stuff. Donald Trump do stoke the fire. But I honestly believe that there's a time and a place for this. And I think that Donald Trump needed to be the person that does this with this character behavior during a time such as this. Because being nice and being cute and being moderate and being sensitive to people, that is not going to work when the devil trying to take over the country. I want you guys to understand it. It's not going to work when these devils are not trying to be peaceable. These devils are not trying to, think about the next move and what they're going to say and bring the country together. They don't. They want to kill us. To be quite honest, they want us all dead. And I know people probably think I'm exaggerating, but they do. They hate our guts. They don't want conservatism. They don't want capitalism. They want communism that never works. And so I just want to address that. He's going to get to another point that I totally disagree with, but I can see where he's coming from. Roll the clip.
For that, as a black man, I don't like the fact that you're trying to tell people what books we should have access to. I don't like the fact that you're trying to dictate to us what we should study, what we should learn, what we should know. And others in the LGBTQ community, it's happened to you. Wouldn't go up to the Jewish community and try to tell them about what they should be studying about their own history and what they should know and what they should have access to. Stuff like that.
I'm confused. Are you saying Trump is telling?
I'm saying when you have issues like the Smithsonian Museum issue and what have you, you bring up stuff like that. I have a problem with it because I'm looking at an absence of sensitivity to stuff that doesn't concern you. In the end, you as a white man shouldn't be telling black people what we should be studying about our history or what we should have access to and stuff like that. These culture wars that are taking place, I'm uncomfortable with him with that stuff. And
All right, let's address that, because Donald Trump is not trying to tell black people what books to read. History is history. Let me say that again for the people in the back smoking crack in a Cadillac. History is history. There's no such thing as black history. It's American history. And black people were involved in American history. So when Donald Trump is removing books and certain literature from the Smithsonian, which he has the authority to do, is because these books are exaggerating and inaccurate about American history. They are framing this idea that this country was built on slavery and that this country is diametrically against black individuals, which is inaccurate history, which caused division and chaos in the Smithsonian. But you can go to the library right now and look at whatever documentation you want and read whoever's ignorant folk that writing these old stupid books to make money off of your victimhood. So I don't think that that's accurate. I do respect his opinion about it, but it is not. I'm sick of people saying my people. I refer to black folks because that's a group of people that I grew up with, and there's a certain culture associated. But at the end of the day, we're all Americans. When you leave the soil of the United States of America and you go to another country, they're not asking you, are you black? They're not looking at you. The black people in the UK aren't looking at you and them as the same. When you leave, you're an American or you're not an American. And why in America we feel like we got to be divided when you go to another country, you're an American or not, no matter what color you are. All right, let me let him finish, and then we got a couple other clips.
Don't view him as somebody that really prioritize appeasing the black community by showing us what you're bringing to the table for us. I think any benefits that may occur is a byproduct of him doing what he wants to do for his base of people as opposed to my community, and I have a problem with that. That's where I'm coming from.
And let me add this too. I think that doing right by America is doing right by black people. I don't like the idea that we have to somehow create a special menu or a secret menu for these people over here that live in the same country as these people over here. Lowering taxes benefit black people too because they go to work too. Having ID to vote benefits black folks because they also don't want illegals voting in the election and thwarting their vote and their opportunity to make decisions based on their voting power. I don't understand. Men not being able to transition and devastate women in women's sports is something that everybody in America should identify with. I think there's unique things that happen in inner city and poor neighborhoods that I think we can address, but that is not a white black thing. That is a poor thing. I'm black, and nothing that happens in the inner city is associated with me. I don't somehow have gang violence that travel with me everywhere I go move. No, I've moved to a different neighborhood, so I'm not a part of that. I'm a black man that's not in the gang. I don't believe in none of that shenanigans. I'm not listening to drill music and all that stuff. So I'm not like them. My struggle ain't their struggle. And I'm not saying that their struggle don't matter. I'm just saying that just because I'm black don't mean I'm associated with it. All right, I think we got like 1 or 2 more clips from Stephen A. Smith, and then we're going to get on to Tim Walz, and then the hockey team controversy, Clinton, and then this idiot, which he's going straight to hell. I don't know where else he can go, saying that Jesus was gay. Can you imagine? Y'all hold on for that story. Jesus is gay is the craziest thing anybody can say. All right, Stephen A. Smith clip. Let's roll it, and we'll cut these short.
I will say this: I am in no way identifying myself with today's Democratic Party. When I'm talking about Democrat, I'm talking about me being a moderate. I'm talking about the Democrats that existed in the 80s and the 90s, the Clinton Democrats and stuff like that. I'm not talking about this strong progressive left, you know, with some of the nonsense that they've spewed and the positions that they've taken. Oh no, if I would have ever run for office, I wouldn't listen to them at all. I wouldn't take that nonsense from them one bit, because
do you think there's a way to do that, like a genuine way to do that? Just, it seems to me that your attachments to the Democrat Party are of a Democrat Party maybe of 20 or 30 or 40
absolutely
years ago, because everything that you talk about and the way that I actually love that you still describe yourself as a liberal, because I do consider I'm a real liberal. It just has nothing to do with the Democrat Party now. So when you talk about the gay rights, let's say, or abortion, we've been kicked back to the states. Republicans aren't really screaming about it. You don't hear them trying to reverse gay marriage or something. Or the fact that Trump has really shifted the party when it comes to let's say, minorities. It still seems to me you are more of a Republican. I'm not trying to just throw you in a bucket, but you're just trying to understand the thought process.
Listen, at the end of the day, it's fair is fair. If you see what I say and what I believe and how I conduct myself, I have no problem with people saying that. Yeah. Patrick Bet-David has become a really good friend of mine, and he and I talk all the time. And he always says, he always says, you are the most conservative Democrat I've ever
used
seen.
They used to exist.
That's what he
Blue
said.
dog Democrats, yeah.
He doesn't know what to do. Excuse me. He says I'm the most conservative Democrat he has seen. But I don't view it that way. I view, to me, if I was in office, I would be focusing on the desolate and the disenfranchised more than I see the Republican Party doing. I agree, and I believe in free market capitalism from a principled perspective. But in the same breath, I do believe there are people out here who need a helping hand, who need assistance. I do believe in entitlement programs for the disenfranchised, for the poor amongst us. I do believe in helping to uplift the little man and the little woman and giving folks a chance at the American dream. And I don't think
I don't want to run all my time on this. If you guys want to see the full clips, we can upload it to the members. If the members want to see the full clip, we'll upload the full clip of some of these things. If you want it, just put it in the comment section for the members if you want us to do that, because we'll love to share the whole clip with you if you want to see it. But what I will say is that when you make the country better, everybody rises. When you eliminate fraud and get illegal aliens out of this country, we can have certain entitlement programs. And people who are milking it need to get kicked off so the people who really need it can be of service to them. I was on food stamps when I first had my son for 3 months. So yeah, some of these things that give you a helping hand to get yourself up a little bit, give you, help you rise up to move on to something different, is something that I believe in just like anybody else. But when you own there for 30 years on government assistance because you lazy and sorry and you want to lay up and have kids with all these dirt bags that don't take care of you, and you think the government, my tax dollars and other people's tax dollars are supposed to take care of you, that's absolute foolery. Let's get to Tim Walz, because that dude's sorry self need to be in trouble for what he did. The amount of fraud in Minnesota is so diabolical, it's crazy to me. And I honestly think that Tim Walz needs to be held accountable to some degree, because there is no way that you have billions of dollars of fraud in your state as the governor and you have no idea what's happening. That's just like a CEO of a company having fraud go on in your company and you going, I just didn't know. Well, that don't cut it. All right, let's roll a Fox News clip about Tim Walz and his autism fraud. Roll it.
And Martha, the fraud in Minnesota happened on a number of different platforms. The Vice President, Dr. Oz, yesterday focused on the autism treatment centers. And the allegation is that the treatment centers would encourage parents to get a bogus diagnosis that their kid was autistic. The treatment center would then get a check and the parents would get a kickback. The treatment centers could not receive surprise inspections because they were not licensed. Now that licenses are required, only 6 out of more than 500 centers are even applying for the provisional license. Dr. Oz says this goes all the way to the top of state leadership.
This is not a problem with the people of Minnesota. It's a problem with the leadership of Minnesota and other states who do not take Medicaid preservation seriously. Any delay in services is going to be should be laid at the